My name is Kate. I grew up in a house that had a lot of stuff everywhere. Okay. I am excited to be with you guys right now, and I'm glad I'm making a YouTube video. I hope it's working, and if it's not, that's okay too. I'm doing my best. My name is Kate. I go by Kathryn Fredrickson when I write. I have always written. I've written books, I've written plays, I've written novels, and now I write again after a workplace mobbing. Okay. I was manipulated and mobbed against, and I was basically scapegoated to take the pressure and burden out of a very stressed corporate system. I have many, many years of industrial marketing experience, over 30 years in marketing. I also studied as an anthropologist. So I've always had a confidant role within an organization, except for the last one. That one, it was not the right fit. Could have been handled a lot differently. I was thrust into my healing journey. I don't begrudge myself a second of my own healing journey. I did a good job, guys. I'm proud of myself. I made it through. It was a little touch and go sometimes. I wrote all the way through it, and I had commercial grade AI, which is not perfect, but it helped me write at the level of thought. Now, am I still writing? Yes, absolutely, I'm still writing. When I lay these books out, I am editing them. I am going back into older works now. It's been over 2 years. That's great. I'm feeling so much better. I am stronger, faster, more able to use helpful words when I describe myself, and I'm selling through my own clutter. I have an Etsy store. It's going well. On Etsy, I think it's Fredhappy on Etsy. It might just be Fredhappy. You can check my link in my bio, guys. I've been writing digital books, and I am going to be laying them out in print. I'm going to be combining a lot of my shorter books into like 5-in-1s and 2-in-1s and stuff like that. I want to make the deal sweet. Okay. I call it a healing sabbatical, quite frankly. I really, truly work very hard. I always have. And I wrestled with these books because I wanted to learn the concepts. Does that make sense? It helped me tremendously on my healing journey. You'll learn a lot more at the blog site. Okay? You can get all kinds of, like a sneak peek into the caliber of my writing. I have often, in the course of my industrial marketing career, been on the winning team within a very competitive marketplace. I was part of the electric smart grid with the ARRA grant money. Okay, massive land rush. It was incredible to be part of that and to see that all built out. Am I a perfect employee? I got a 4.5 out of 5 on my review. I got 2 raises and a bonus. Maybe I was just making a certain subset of people happy, but not everybody happy. Or maybe it's just that the system was stressed and they were looking for an outlet to dump the strain. And I imploded. I just have to get the word out. I wrote a trilogy about manipulation, okay? They will come out as a 3-in-1 print book. That will be one of the books that I get printed and then ship out. And that's happening soon, sooner than I think. I am so excited to bring the works to market. So let me read a little bit from Stratagem, which is the middle book, book 2 in the Manipulation Series by Fredhappy. Stratagem. Manipulation by Design: How Ordinary Signals Trap the Human Mind. I'm going to read the disclaimer. The note to reader: this book investigates the mechanics of manipulation, attention, and social influence in everyday environments. The events that inspired it are real, but identifying details have been altered to protect privacy and to focus the reader's attention on the patterns themselves. No individual portrayed in these pages should be understood as a clinical diagnosis or a legal acquisition. Acquisition. Oh, funny. That's ironic. Or legal accusation. The purpose of this work is to examine recognizable behavioral signals and the psychological mechanisms that can make them difficult to interpret in the moment. This is really important when it comes to manipulation. I was shocked at how fast it happened. I always fancied myself to be kind of immune to Stockholm Syndrome, but I was wrong. The interpretations presented are the author's own, informed by personal experience, research, okay? And I used a bunch of different AIs. I also collected a vast library of books that I'm going to be explaining more about at my blog site. I like books. I want more books for people, and I want them to be more accessible and more understandable. I work very hard. In fact, most of the rework has been to include more plain language so that people can understand it. Okay, you ready? Oh, Lord. This is what I'm going to do. Hold on. We're going to do some... Oh, come with me. Just come with me. All right, hopefully this is going to work. You like that better? You like that better? All right. Opening gambit. The first thing she said to me was a declaration of alliances. My best friend is married to him, she said. My husband is best friends with him. Then she told me a celebrity had come to town to visit his family. I had just arrived, and already the map of loyalties was being drawn. I didn't realize it then, but that sentence was not an introduction. It was an opening move. Chapter 1, The Doorway. The first time he blocked the doorway was an ordinary work interaction in a narrow space, until it wasn't. No touching and no words I could point to later, just his body taking up the exit and his eyes narrowing at me. I didn't feel fear at first, I felt curious. And that's important, because that is how stratagem begins. Not with a threat the mind can name, but with a signal the body catches before language does. Over the next several weeks, it happened again and again. In a long hallway, his eyes searched for and found mine. Then he looked back at my face, smiled, and nodded his head in a mimic of the sex act. It was filthy, and it was deniable. And because it was deniable, my mind did what decent minds do when they encountered something vile dressed as ambiguity. It tried to make the interaction make sense. Maybe he liked me. Maybe I was reading too much into it. The third time was closer, casual, repeated. He mimicked the act again, this time with a kind of bored confidence, and my body stopped bargaining with the scene. Predatory. On another day, while I was seated, he leaned down and sniffed my body. That is not flirtation, and that is not miscommunication, and it is not an oopsie. That is the point where the person stops being treated like a colleague and starts being treated like a game. And the most dangerous part was not that any one gesture was spectacular. It was that each one was small enough to survive daylight, small enough to be laughed off, small enough to leave me alone with the question, what was that? My blog has a ton more information about a lot of different things, because guess what, guys? I used what happened to me to heal myself from complex PTSD. Am I perfect now? No. Do I still have really kind of crappy days and moments? It's more like moments now that are crappy. I've had some crappy days too on the healing journey. We all have. Okay, healing is happening for a lot of us, guys. I'm very proud of humanity. I really am. I'm glad to be a person. I am. And I'm glad to offer Stratagem. I'm just going to say it. My books are baller. The link in the bio is the place to go.